Thomas wakes up in a metal box, knowing only his first name and very small remnants of his past, not enough to give him any clarity as to where he is now. Shortly after, he meets a group of boys that are all on this strange land, and their one goal is to get through the maze off the edge of the land. Thomas knows nothing of the land, so he relies on the other boys to try to give him information, and it's hard. He can barely get any of them to tell him anything about where they are or why they're there, and only knows that he has this desire to be what is called a runner, someone who is able to go into the maze and try to find a way to get everybody home. The maze proves to show its own difficulties. It is guarded by what are called grievers, strange creatures that no one understands how they came to be. And the maze changes every single day, so there is no set pattern as to how the maze is to be run. Along with everything else Thomas has to think of while in the glade, a young girl shows up the next day after he has arrived himself, and she bears a note saying she's the last one ever. None of the boys know what this means and assume that it means that there will be no more people coming to this land and being trapped here, so they have to find a way out before it is too late and they die in the glade. In James Dashner's The Maze Runner, the first novel in the Maze Runner trilogy, we follow Thomas as he tries to find out how to be able to get home and how to survive in this weird land that he's not sure about. To me, this novel is very reminiscent of Lord of the Flies, which was a novel that I had read during high school. And the reason I say that is because it's almost the same in the sense that the boys are left on this land with very little knowing of how they're going to get home. The difference, though, is that in the Maze Runner, the boys are given all kinds of food and supplies that they are able to use, and they get more every single week. Whereas in Lord of the Flies, the boys were just completely stranded on a desert island and had nothing to provide themselves with. The writing style that James Dashner uses in The Maze Runner is very unique. The very beginning of the novel is very confusing as you don't really know what's going on because you are in the position of Thomas. You wake up with him in this box essentially and have no idea of anything about yourself. You know nothing of where you are, and you're basically on this ride with him as if you were a bird on his shoulder, which I think is very interesting because it makes the reader more relatable to the actual character itself, because we are unsure of exactly what's happening. We don't know anything about what's happening in the glade and in the maze and with the other boys, so it's nice to see that we are learning these things with Thomas as he learns them himself. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to watch the actual movie The Maze Runner, but I am very excited to see it in the future because I think that the movie was supposed to follow the book really well, at least from what people who had read the book had told me when they saw the movie. I honestly think I will be reading the rest of the series because when I picked up this book, it was very hard for me to be able to put it down sometimes because, especially when there was a lot of action involved, the story sucked me in. James Dashner did a really good job of being able to pull at the heartstrings of the reader because you have no idea what's going on and you want to be able to read more because you want to know what is going on with Thomas too. So it's very easy to get lost in this book, and I cannot wait to be able to read the rest of them. So that's going to do it for my book review of James Dashner's The Maze Runner. It's very short. I don't really have much to say on it other than I think it's very, very good. I think the writing style is really good because it really puts you in the perspective of Thomas and makes it more believable as you try to find things out. As far as believability in the real world, I don't think that this is actually something that could happen in the real world. It is very dystopian. It is very kind of otherworldly-esque, but I really highly doubt that somebody would actually come up with something like this. The Hunger Games is possibly more likely than this would be to me, so I just don't think it's very possible of happening, but still an enjoyable read for me. The next book that I will be reading is going to be Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. Now, this was a book that actually I was introduced to in my last semester, my British literature class, and I was supposed to read this, but I'm gonna admit I didn't do it, mainly because there wasn't much that we talked about when it came to the books in that class, so you really didn't have to do much reading to understand something. It was a very strange class. I could talk about it forever about how weird it was, but yeah, so I'm actually going to sit down and be able to read this. But thank you guys so much for joining me in this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!